Yesterday was so much fun getting to read about your potions because they were so creative. I was thinking a lot about my potion and what I would want it to do. So because the weather's been kind of like gray and rainy, and I don't know if you guys remember from school, not my favorite. So I like sunshine days and like being at the beach and things like that. So I was thinking for my potion I would have blades of grass, like fresh grass, lemon, a little suntan lotion for a good smell, and maybe like a little bit of sand. And then I need something to like make it fizzy. So maybe like some, I don't know, seltzer or something crazy. So stuff that would remind me of just kind of like a brighter, and hopefully it would make it a sunny day outside. So you could like drink the potion and it would change the weather outside. I don't know, it'd be pretty cool to be Franny. So with that said, we are going to see how Franny's magic formulas have worked for her. She now changed into her cutesy little self, and she is off to school. We'll see how it goes. Chapter 8, A Transformed Franny. Before school, Franny met some of the girls from her class. Franny had modified Chompolina with her. Now Chompolina played happy music and squirted perfume and glitter, and came with her own nail polish and a rainbow-colored unicorn with a long tail that you could braid. The other girls loved Chompolina and crowded around her. Franny thought it was fun playing with them, but deep down, she missed the old Chompolina. At lunchtime, Franny pulled out her PBJ sandwich. The peanut butter had been artfully smoothed, and the jelly had been applied equally from one corner to the other. The bread was so blazingly white that Franny needed sunglasses to even look at it. Her mom had even trimmed off the crusts, and the other kids noticed this and smiled with approval. Franny took a bite and found it to be totally, completely, and incredibly average, uninteresting. No big deal. She had expected so much more. But her experiment seemed to be working, so she finished her mushy sandwich. At recess, Franny suggested they play softball. She consulted her notes quickly and added, "I think it's best we use a ball instead of a skull or a giant squid eyeball, or something gruesome like that." The other kids were a bit puzzled, but they agreed. Franny had been playing with them, but deep down she knew the game would have been so much more fun with a skull or giant squid eyeball. After school, the kids all said goodbye, and a few even asked her to come over to their houses and play. It was great to be asked, but Franny had to hurry straight home and analyze her day. She was happy. The other kids liked her, even if it was only a transformed her. I want you to think about that. She's had to change herself to make the other kids like her. What do you think about that? Would you do that? Would you change who you are to make sure other people like you? I really hope not, right? You should be able to be yourself and be accepted for who you are without having to change to make friends. She does look kind of happy here, but she shouldn't have to change. Let's see what happens. Chapter 9, Lunch Doesn't Agree with Me. The next day at school, while the kids were doing their math problems, Miss Shelley took Franny over to the side and talked to her. "How's the experiment going?" she asked. "It's great. I understand them, and I think we're becoming friends. They seem to like me better if I just go along with the things that they like." "Are you sure that's for the best?" Miss Shelley asked. "Well, that's what the data seems to suggest," Franny said, and showed Miss Shelley some graphs to back it up. "But I like the real you." Miss Shelley was about to continue when a piercing scream tore through the room. So it looks like Franny is collecting data, just like we're doing in our new math unit if you're following along for picture graphs and bar graphs. She's collecting data, which is pretty cool. I wonder what the piercing scream is, don't you? "The trash can!" a little girl shrieked. "It's moving." Franny's mad scientist brain raced. That was the trash can in which she had dumped her crab ravioli and pumpkin sauce just 2 days ago. But an old lunch all by itself was not enough to start a paranormal reaction. Who else put something in that trash can? Franny said. I spit my gum in there, one girl said. I threw a pair of old gym shoes in there, another boy said. I saw the janitor dump some trash in there, another girl said. Egod, said Franny, that was close. Well, as long as nobody put unstable industrial waste in there, we should be fine. Oh, yeah, said one little boy. I forgot. I did put some unstable industrial waste in there. Ruh-roh. And if you're thinking, what's unstable industrial waste? Obviously, it's something toxic that Franny kind of has concocted. Nobody would really be putting that in the trash can, but it's for the reaction. Godzooks! Franny shouted. That is the exact formula to create a giant, monstrous fiend. The other kids looked at her. They looked scared, not just at the mention of a giant, monstrous fiend, although the prospect of a giant, monstrous fiend was not comforting. They were also afraid of Franny. They were looking at her the way they used to, before they had become good friends. I mean, Franny stammered, that's what I would think if I was a weird mad scientist type of little girl, which of course I'm not. They all smiled at her again. So here's her reaction. Ah! And then back to her cutesy self. Just then, the trash can erupted like a volcano. As the smoke settled, the kids saw, for the first time, the type of giant, monstrous fiend that a mad scientist type of girl would have predicted. I want to show you just one page. What do you notice about the way this monstrous fiend looks like based on what Franny had put in the trash can? Her crab pumpkin ravioli. Crab pumpkin ravioli body. Chapter 10, our last one for today. That's no jack-o'-lantern. The giant, monstrous fiend stood there, chewing gum and breathing angrily. Its head was a pumpkin. Its body looked like a crab. It was wearing the old shoes, and it was dripping with industrial waste. Franny hoped it would just jump out of the window and go away. And to her surprise, the pumpkin crab monster jumped out the window and went away. Unfortunately, it grabbed Miss Shelley before it left. With a crash and a scream, the pumpkin crab monster and her teacher were gone. The kids just stood there. They didn't know how to help. A few tried crying. A few tried screaming. One tried wetting his pants. Although later on he admitted he had no idea why that might help. Some of Franny's new friends hugged her and shrieked. But Franny didn't shriek. She thought. I like this picture. I wonder what you would do if a giant monster took me away out the window. Out the window, the pumpkin crab monster was climbing the flagpole with Miss Shelley. There was no way that Miss Shelley was going to get away from that monster thing. It was holding her tight, and it was climbing higher and higher. Franny looked at her friends. She really liked them, and she was happy they liked her. She had hoped they would always be friends, but still she knew what she had to do. Franny reached into her backpack and pulled out a vial. It said antidote on it. Guys, she said gently, if you all get your lunches, I think I know what we might be able to do. The kids ignored her. They just ran in little circles, getting more and more scared and confused. Guys, really, I think I know what we need. Franny spoke a little louder this time, but they still ignored her. said one little girl. We need a superhero, one boy said. We need dry pants, said you-know-who. Franny stood up. Outside, lightning cracked. What we need, she said, is a mad scientist, which I am. She uncorked the antidote and drank it. She began to cough and sputter and spit. She fell to the ground and scrunched down into a little ball. She stood up and felt herself return to normal. Franny, the little girl, mad scientist, was back. Dun, dun, dun. We're gonna pause right there. What will she do? She drank the antidote, right? So that's the opposite effect. So she had the potion, which made her into the cute little girl. The antidote turned her back. So it was kind of like the anti-potion. What's she gonna do now that she's back to her mad scientist form? How will she save Miss Shelley? What do you think? And also get her away from that monstrous fiend. I would love to know what you guys are thinking.